I think people avoid the difficult conversation because one, it is emotionally draining. It is mentally draining. And a lot of times because of just the overexposure to just every fucking thing, I think people don't want to put on top of that. We deal with a lot. Life these days, the last 20 years, life be lifing. I mean,
people are afraid of shame. People are afraid of shame.
I also don't think that people know how to talk about their feelings.
I
like it actually sometimes is difficult for people to say, hey, that hurt me. Like, I don't like that you did that. They might just want to, all right, she did that, bet. And walk off and deal with it like that. I mean,
that's just a good point.
Yeah.
I'm going to absolutely give you a chance to correct your behavior. I will 100% give you a chance to correct your behavior. But it's when you're given a chance and you don't. And I've already explained to you how it makes me feel. I've already explained to you how I don't like it. I've already explained to you how it's problematic for me and therefore for our relationship. And then knowing all that, you choose to not change your behavior, then that's when I timestamp.
And you're an adult and you got to learn how to make better choices or make better choices. That's going to
is diabolical.
Be good for the both of us. And I don't feel like you're doing that right now. So
yeah,
I'm going to take that itself as, okay, you playing with me and now you're being disrespectful towards me because I've already given you this. And then if it continues, I'm going to look at myself, be like, yo, why am I putting up with this? And that's going to send me to a whole nother level where it'd be like, all right, well, where am I going to take this? Do I need revenge or am I going to be the bigger person? And sometimes I'd be tired of being the bigger person. So if I'm tired of being the bigger person, I'm going to go somewhere I don't want to go.
But not even revenge. Maybe just you have to show them better than you can
That's
tell
revenge,
them.
though.
Is it?
Yeah.
No. I didn't know that was revenge.
If you're going to show somebody not to mess with you or not to play with you in that manner.
So sometimes I think that people don't understand how their actions make people feel until they experience it themselves. And so that's why I wasn't necessarily thinking of it as revenge. To me, revenge is like, oh, you went out of your way to do something to me. Mm-hmm. Now I need to go out of my way proactively, directly, X, Y, and Z, and make you feel my wrath because you did something to me. To me, that's what revenge is. But what I was thinking was that it's maybe you need a lesson because, like, I told you, and maybe you just didn't understand. Fine, Yeah,
but you given that lesson, who makes you the judge now?
What do you mean, judge of what?
Because I think you're using wrath. Wrath is the same as being a judge. Like you're handing down a sentence.
It's not a wrath. It's not. No, it's like, no. The thing is that, like, you did something to me. Just let's say we're married, right? And I
ate my cheesecake.
What?
Pissed me off.
I don't even. Oh, you said ate your cheesecake?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I would never do that.
It's personal pizza.
I would never do that though. Like, it
doesn't matter. It's a hypothetical.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I ate your cheese, or you ate my.
I didn't check in with you, and you wanted me to check in, and I told you, listen, you got my location. That's checking enough. Boom. But you want me to do some checking nonsense.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Great. That's real good. So I'm like, okay, cool. You don't understand how important it is that I'm asking you to check in. Cool. So I think because you don't understand how I feel about it, my point of reference, so on and so forth, then maybe I need to show you the exact same actions so that you now understand what it is I'm trying to communicate to you when I want you to check in.
Yeah, but you showing me the exact same actions doesn't affect me how it affects you. That don't bother me. I never needed to check. I never needed you to check in.
Oh, I don't know.
That's why I said it's revenge, because you don't have you thinking that you're showing me something that I don't care about. That's literally revenge. You're being spiteful and doing something that you think is going to show me a lesson.
Well, I guess I'm talking about things where the people want
have a mutual dislike
Yeah.
of behavior.
So that would be revenge then, because if it's not on the same thing, like you not checking in and I'm not checking in, now you're doing something that you know I don't like. How is that not revenge?
I would agree that it is out of spite. What I've come to realize is that people cannot have the tough conversation or come to a solution or an understanding because they have grown up to believe that they need to understand to make an adjustment. And the second that you stop thinking that you need to understand why this bothers somebody, why somebody thinks this way, why this person needs something to be a specific type of way, and you detach the fact that it doesn't make sense to you, then you can start to make the adjustment. So we go through this rabbit hole and this hamster wheel because even at a point to really, if I'm doing something out of spite, is really because I want you to understand how it's affecting me. So then maybe you can make the adjustment because, again, people don't want to make the adjustment to things that they don't understand. They think that they have to mentally be in alignment with whatever the issue is, but you don't. I don't need for you to understand. I need you to accept and adjust. I don't need you to try to align with me. I need you to accept and adjust, and when we get to that point, then we can have solutions. Then we can have fruitful relationships with one another. But if I have to understand why you have to fan yourself and it irritates me, I'm not saying that it does.
It's hot.
I'm not saying that it does. But if I have to understand,
Take your jacket off.
Yeah. But if I have to understand it, if I have to understand it for it to not bother me, we may never progress.
That
right?
makes a lot of sense.
That's my take.
Can I ask you a question? Because a lot, and this actually hit a nerve with me because I often seek to understand why somebody does something so that I don't flip out, so that I don't have like just some off the cuff reaction. I'll be like, you know what? Was there a reason why you left that sugar just on the counter like that? Was there a reason that the money was in the account, but you paid the bill late? Like, I'd like to understand because it keeps me from like being like, you stupid motherfucker. You know what I mean?
That doesn't sound like real things to understand. That is like,
Well, my thing is, when I say understand, I really don't mean to know the train of thought. Right?
I'm sorry to cut you. I think understanding and agreeing with are two different things.
So I want to understand because even if I don't agree with it, I'm like, you know what?
I understand.
Okay, that is your.
Even though it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But you still don't understand why it makes sense.
Even if it doesn't make sense to you, you asking.
You got to agree with it in order to say, because whatever answer I give you is probably not going to be good enough because it's my train of thought. And it's like, listen, because you would have done it differently. How about that?
No. And I'm saying that because I'm not, and I say this a lot, like, I want to know why people do things because a lot of times people do things for a reason that was from their childhood. Not that I agree with what you did, but you know what? Now I get it. I get why you made a poor decision, or I get why you did something that is not normal to me. Because you didn't grow up with cleaning up after yourself, or you didn't grow up with knowing how to cut grass, or you didn't grow up with saving, or you didn't grow up with siblings that you had to take care of. You know what I mean?
So is that actually the answer that you're looking for when you ask that? Are you looking for him to say, yeah, I didn't grow up cleaning after myself, so yeah, that's why I left the sugar there? Like, are you looking for him to say that? No.
She wants to understand the lack thereof, whatever it may be.
It's like, I left it there because I'm finna come back and use it in 30 minutes. You see what I'm saying? I think that y'all want to agree with the answer. I don't seek to agree with the answer. I just want to understand. Like, I want to know the pathology of why you make a decision. It's like showing your work.
But what if it's all the time and it doesn't have a justifiable reason? For example, I left the cup there. I was never coming back in 30 minutes. It just happens to slip my mind all the time.
But that's a pattern. That's just something that they do.
Yeah,
they
maybe
drink and then they leave the cups.
Choose not to change.
And maybe because they grew up where, and I'm just trying to make this make sense. Maybe they grew up whenever they left their cup on the table, somebody else put it in the sink for them. So now that habit has now carried over throughout their life. So it doesn't actually have a justifiable reason in terms of why you're leaving it there. You're just leaving it there simply for somebody else to clean up after you.
But no, you're leaving it there is because someone has always cleaned up after
Yeah.
you. And
But
so,
I'm saying, would that be okay if they're saying I'm not?
yeah, no, it would be okay for me. But that's what I'm saying. I want to understand the pathology of why you do it.
No matter if it
It
makes
doesn't.
sense.
I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to. It don't have to make sense because the real thing is that somewhere in your little peanut mind, it makes sense to you. You know what I mean?